So one, I will call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Sarah, could you do roll call, please?
President Bucher,
Here.
Trustee Barheit, Trustee Brooks.
Here.
Trustee Polly,
Here.
Trustee Faber,
Here.
Trustee Hopkins.
Here.
And Trustee Gant.
Here.
Thank you.
Did we meet open meeting compliance?
Agendas were posted Friday, February 13th, both online and here at Village Hall.
Okay. Trustees, do I have approval of the agenda sequence?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We'll now go into public comments. Please address the board. There'll be no back and forth discussions and there is a 3-minute time limit. Robert Ross, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Robert Ross, 20423 Isola Avenue, Lake Villa, Illinois. And I am speaking tonight again about the attached private garage addition being constructed in an R2 residential district. And I have provided to everyone a handout. On the left side of the first page, there is a letter from Village Attorney Todd Terry stating that the definition and limitation on a private garage are only applicable in the C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District, which does not apply to the subject property. The subject property is zoned R2. On the right side is the zoning information for the C2. It shows allowed permissible uses, one of them being a single family dwelling. It also allows private garages and carports. That where it lists private garages is what the village attorney is basing his determination upon, that a private garage only exists in the C2 district, does not exist anywhere else, any other district, just the C2. Private garage limits the size and use of a garage. So for hypothetical reasons, I'm going to say he's right. Private garage, C2 district, nowhere else, and I want to see where that goes. So on the next page, you have the zoning for R2. Also allows a single family dwelling, just like C2. So the allowed uses in C2 are not exclusive to C2. And then it also shows for R2, you're allowed accessory buildings such as detached garages. If you look over the allowed uses, you will not see an attached garage anywhere. That does not mean that an attached garage is not allowed, but it does not specifically state that it is allowed. It does say accessory buildings such as a detached garage, and on the top right, there is the village definition of an accessory building or use, and it is a building which is detached from the principal structure. So that accessory buildings allowed in R2 does not mention in any way, shape, or form an attached garage. So an attached garage, by definition, has to be attached to a dwelling by a wall and or roof. But what I would like to focus upon is the first 5 words. I'm out of time? All right, well, I'm just going to end up real quick. The first 5 words are these. Attached garage is a private garage. Doesn't take a law degree to understand this. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing. I've been waiting patiently for the permit information. I think Andy Andy's here. Andy's had it for 3 weeks. I have not received anything. So if you can kind of expedite that, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Samantha Hopkins, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Samantha Hopkins, 7003 284th Avenue, Salem Lakes. Hello, Board. On the agenda under Planning and Zoning is an item to seek clarification on Highway 50 access to Salem Hills Edition. I wanted to provide a quick summary for reference to that item. During the August 18th, 2025 Village Board meeting, the board requested that Bear revisit permanent access for the neighborhood to the DOT. On January 6th of 2026 Village Hall meeting, an answer was still not provided. So the board asked if it could be revisited again, along with temporary access for Highway 50 for the construction to the DOT. We are pending a response to both permanent neighborhood access and temporary construction access. Thank you.
Thank you. Will M., please come forward, state your name and address for the record. No Will? Okay. We will move on to president's comments. All right, so we are still seeking applications for boards and commissions. They are due March 13th with the appointments made on April 21st. There are applications on the side table and also it is available online. That is all I have. Number 8, trustee comments, reports, and requests. 8.1, public safety liaison update.
All right, going forward, the Salem Lakes Fire Department for the month of January responded to 130 calls, 9 of which were fires, whether that was vehicle or structure. And in the town of Brighton, they had 7 calls, all 7 were EMS calls.
Okay. 8.2. Oh,
I'm sorry.
You're
forgot
not
the
done?
sheriff. So, Sheriff's Department for the month of January. In January 2026, they had a total of 609 calls. That's an increase of 21.5% from the previous year. January of 2025, they had 478 calls. Traffic stops for the month of January 2025, they had 148. And for the month of January 2026, they had a total of 170 for an increase of 12.9%. Now I'm done.
okay, thank you. All right. 8.2, Southeastern Wisconsin Fox River Commission update.
Yeah, we meet on Friday of this week.
Okay. We'll go into the Lake District updates. Silver Lake Management District.
All right, they're applying a aerial view of a map on the Silver Lake District's website. As far as the buoys that are being placed, they're asking for a couple more warning buoys as far as shallow water and stuff. It sounds like they're gonna have a couple members of their board presented on the 28th meeting for the Lake Districts, I guess is what I'm gonna say.
So if memory serves me right too, those warning buoys, they're not controlled by the DNR, much like the slow no wake buoys are. So if the board were to agree to additional ones, that's simply a board decision. Does not have to be filed with the DNR.
Okay.
They do want to add a couple warning buoys as far as some shallow water though, so. Okay.
All right. Okay. Volts Lake and Camp Center Lake.
Currently those 2 lake districts are interviewing applicators that'll be putting in chemicals in their lake, as all the lakes are. They do chemical treatment. And both Silver Lake, Volts Lake, Hooker Lake, Camp and Center Lake have committed to being at our Village of Salem Lakes Forum on February 28th at 9 o'clock right here, along with a couple of people from the DNR, one of which is a biologist that approves the chemical treatments for the lakes. Another one is the person that's responsible for grants in southeastern Wisconsin. and another person from Madison that talks about clean boats, clean water. And then two people from Sewer Pack as well.
And that one of those two coming in from
Is the leader of the
Fox River
Lakes and
Commission.
Rivers
Yep.
or Sewer Pack.
Yep.
Which are 7 counties on southeastern Wisconsin.
Okay, EDC update.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So yesterday afternoon, we had another meeting with Paddock Lake. Salem Lakes was there, as well as Twin Lakes. And we had the accounting firm, which happens to be all of us together use the same accounting firm to review all of our books, right? And so we had them there to help us understand what we could do, how we could structure money, that sort of thing, how things would work. We worked more on basically, at the end of it, we came to the conclusion that we're working on flow charts and org charts to be able to help explain how the process would work and how things would happen. So we made some great progress. I was really excited about it. And then this coming Thursday, Brian and potentially Michael, our administrator, are going to be going to see Walworth for a presentation because they're very interested. So things are looking really great.
All righty. Thank you. Library board update.
I have nothing new to report. I missed the last meeting because didn't get done in time. Plumbing job.
All right. Okay, number 9, public hearing 9.1. The village board will hold a public hearing on a resolution to discontinue use of Wilmot Fire Station and Silver Lake Village Hall as polling places pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 5.25 sub 1 sub C. I will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this item? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this item? Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Okay. Is there anyone here to speak against?
I do have a question.
We'll have board discussion. Is there anyone here to speak against this item? Is there anyone here to speak against this item? I will now close this public hearing and the village board can, Ramsey, do we discuss it on this or the next item? Great. All right, number 10. Clerk's office, discussion and possible action on the following items. 10.1, resolution 2026.02157. A resolution of the Village of Salem Lakes, Kenosha County, Wisconsin, changing polling locations for upcoming elections. The village board will discuss and consider a resolution to discontinue use of the Wilmot Fire Station and Silver Lake Village Hall as polling places to combine the polling locations for wards 1 through 5 and 11 through 13 to vote at one polling location and to establish the polling locations for the Village of Salem Lakes. I open it up to the board for discussion.
Okay.
So
I was just,
just a little backstory. We were going to relocate the Silver Lake voting location because we are going to be putting that building on the market to either rent or sell. And we were going to move across the tracks. However, with the early snow, we were unable to do the parking lot. So I have no parking for the new polling location. So for 2026, I would like to move it here to Village Hall because we have nowhere in Silver Lake to really have a good, stable polling location.
So that is for the 2026 elections in April and November, correct?
And August.
And August for a primary.
Mhm.
But the intent is then once that station across the tracks on the west side has been rehabbed for or per the ADA requirements, the intent then it would be to open that back up for wards, what is it, 11 through 13?
We'll assess it at the end of 26. It'll also depend. Moving it here will save us money on expenses, staff, equipment. We can definitely outweigh. I mean, my biggest complaint when I started is no one knew where they had to vote because they had to go back and forth. This would take some of that confusion out of it and eliminate some of that voting inequality of throwing people back and forth between locations. I would like to try it and see how it goes. I mean, people might like it. And if they don't like it, we definitely can move it back.
I was gonna say, what capacity do we have here at the Village Hall to handle all the polling stations at one time? Now, yes, granted, you get early voting, you get
Mhm.
absentee voting,
Mhm.
but we've also seen lines out the front door here.
Well, we only currently take all of the locations here in February and August because those turnouts are low. Those other two locations or those other two bigger ones is when we would observe it. With the introduction of Badger books, our lines should go a lot quicker. So I don't think taking that small polling, it is my smallest polling location is Silver Lake. I don't think we're going to have any issues, but again, we can reassess it.
So this will be the only location to vote in all of Salem Lakes then?
No,
No, there's still.
we are going to be moving the Wilmot Fire Station location to the Trevor, to our building. So historically, we were paying for a lot of the incidentals at the Wilmot Fire Station, of which wasn't our building. So in order to save costs, we have eliminated that and we'll be using our own building instead.
So it's just one polling space,
Two,
this one in Salem?
this one in Trevor.
Yep.
So I'll only ever have to come here and not everywhere else that I always have to go. I'll appreciate that.
Mhm.
I mean, during a normal, it's not so bad, but when we come to a presidential election, it could be madhouse.
Figure it out. We can always change it.
Mhm.
But as of right now, schools don't want elections. Most churches don't want elections. And we don't have rec halls or sports complexes that I can use. We're really limited in that area.
So you're saying you're not in favor of rehabbing the building on the west side of the railroad tracks in Silver Lake?
We're still going to do that.
Yeah,
for the
well,
fire
then that would be
station.
the presidential election. We should have it done by 2028.
Correct. But what I'm saying is for 2026, I would like to make it consistent for the voters. And at least tell them that for 2026, this is our plan. And we can always reevaluate it after 26. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But as of right now, I have nowhere else to put them.
If this resolution goes through, if it's passed tonight, I would strongly encourage this board to emphasize a mass mailing to everyone in the village where their locations are.
I already have a postcard drafted, but I just need your blessing in order to send it.
Because this is not gonna go well for that April election. It is not gonna go well. People need to get out and vote to make sure they're voting for the right person.
But the April,
Moving them regardless.
the
we were
April
moving-
election was going to be here anyway, right?
No.
Or no, it was not
Today's election would have been here,
today's.
but
Okay.
they would have had to move across the tracks anyways. So I would have had to mail out a postcard and I'll have signage there. We'll have signage at the old Silver Lake Village Hall telling them to come here. I'll have signage at Wilmot telling them to go to Trevor. And if anything, if they're confused, they'll come here and we'll be able to tell them where to go. And that's usually what happens anyways, because they get confused. I just said we're moving Wilmot to Trevor.
Third time's a charm, Billy.
Yeah.
So is it a motion, do I just say what that is?
I want to jump in real quick with something. So Sarah, you mentioned you'd have signage out and it sounds like maybe closer to the actual election. And I wonder, given this change, is there any prudence to potentially getting that signage up way early? So out in front of those locations that people could read them in advance, or what was your plan? Maybe I should ask it that way.
Well, our building, I can do whatever we want to it, but the Wilmot Fire Station is private. I'd have to ask for permission.
What
Yeah.
about banners though in Wilmot and Silver Lake indicating where those changes are gonna take place?
I'm
We
just gonna
could.
do yard signs.
No, I'm talking a banner, like you see a 6-foot banner.
They cost money, Bill. I've moved polling locations in other municipalities and yard signs are good. They see them. They'll get a postcard and the postcard will say, bring this with you. So if there's confusion, whoever is staffing the polling location can answer it. And it'll have the direct number here to Village Hall. So if they have any questions, they can call us as well.
I guess if the fallback was, how far in advance of the election were you going to be putting those yard signs at those locations?
It depends on when I can, like I said, I gotta contact the association and ask them, but it can be a week or two ahead, even longer.
Yeah, I think the earlier the better, just people can start seeing it and get used to it.
That's fine.
Yep.
And it'll be on the website, social media. I'll definitely make sure it's out
We
there.
can put it out to west of the eye and
Yep.
have them put that in.
News
there, too.
outlets.
I never know where I'm supposed to look, so I always call and or look online and figure it out. So
Mhm.
what's the big concern? That people just know that they're supposed to go there and
The confusion started a few years back when we moved the early voting here. All right, and then you had the regular voting in their respective locations. That's where the confusion originally started, okay? Now, and I hear what you're saying.
Mhm.
Now we're adding another layer of that confusion because now this will be the only place for wards 11 and 13. And then it's wards 1 through 5 are going to be going to the
No.
fire station number 1.
1
No,
through 5 will
no.
be here.
It's here. Everybody who is at Wilmot is just getting shifted to Trevor.
That's what I just said.
Okay, I call it Trevor Fire Station just so people understand. A lot of people don't know what 1, 2, 3 and
Oh.
so I'm sorry if
Oh,
I
yeah.
misunderstood.
Our fire headquarters.
Which I have had a lot of positive reviews about. You know, we own the building, we should be using it. I've had residents tell me it's much closer to them. So
Well, we'll
Okay.
see what happens.
okay, well, I'll make a motion to. What is it? Accept the resolution? How should this say it sound? I'll motion to.
approve the
approve.
resolution.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Motion to approve.
Is that good enough, Ramsey, or do you need us to be a little bit? Okay,
I'll second.
okay.
Before we get to that, can we just make one additional comment about the Silver Lake Community Center? I think that's the new title, isn't it?
I call it Village Hall.
Yeah, well, okay. That building is no longer feasible for any sort of election. And that's based on the condition of the interior flooring. The tiles are so turned upward and twisted. We're inviting an injury. Should we open those doors to voting?
Well, and we're putting it up to rent, so we don't know how soon.
Saying now, though.
Rent, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a first and a second. I will do a roll call on this one. Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Hopkins,
Yes.
trustee Faber,
Yes.
trustee Polly,
Yes.
trustee Brooks.
Yes.
Trustee Barheit.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay. 10.2 approval of minutes from February 3rd, 2026 Village Board Meeting. I make a motion to approve.
So
I have Hopkins as the second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Abstain.
Ten point three, Charter Ordinance number 12, a charter ordinance of the Village of Salem Lakes to repeal and replace sections 2 and 3 of Village of Salem Lakes Charter Ordinance number 10 to change the term of office for the village clerk and village treasurer, and to change who the village clerk and treasurer are instructed to report to and be supervised by.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so I'm going to let Mike talk to this one on the changes.
Yes, 10.3 and 10.4 kind of go hand in hand, so talk about them both kind of currently. What you have before you is a restructuring of who the treasurer and the clerk will report to, which will be the village administrator. I envision that to be operationally a lot more sound and allow us to operate a more efficient means than the staff structure. If you have any questions, we can try to answer them for you.
What, they're changing the term length?
It used to be that they had to be appointed yearly. And so, am I correct in that, Ramsey? We're taking that out. They're just employees,
They're under the supervision of the administrator, who in turn reports to you yearly.
correct?
So they don't have a term limit then?
They do not. Even if they had a term limit before, the village board could have always decided to part ways with them. It just, they are now going from under the village board to under the administrator. So we have a first and a second. Are there any other questions or comments?
Just want to ask then, so for example, board members, any part thereof, with this kind of change, we should be directing our interests related to the clerk, to the new administrator.
Correct. Clerk and the treasurer, they will no longer be the board's employee. They will be the administrator's employee,
Okay.
which is which is common throughout Wisconsin. Correct? Am I correct in that? Okay. All right, so we have a first and a second. I will do a roll call on this one as well. Trustee Brooks,
Yes.
trustee Polly,
Yes.
trustee Faber,
Yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Yes.
Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Barheit,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Motion carried.
I'd like to make a quick comment. In our statutes, you have a position that you can run for office as a clerk and be elected, the same with the treasurer. And a number of years ago, the town of Salem decided that we would appoint those positions. Becoming a clerk is quite involved, and every couple of years you could be changing, and you need somebody here that is stable and really understands what the clerk's responsibilities are, as well as the treasurer. So it made a lot of sense to make those appointed by the board rather than elected officials. But because they were elected, that's the reason we kept renewing it the way we did. But, and at first I wasn't in favor of this, but I did research, and this is the common way it's done now, is the clerk and the treasurer appoint to an administrator if you have one. So just to make that a little clearer, maybe. Hope it didn't confuse anybody, but that's how it came about.
Thank you, Dennis, for that explanation. All right, 10.4 ordinance 2026.02112, an ordinance creating chapter 100 entitled Officers and Employees, Article 2 entitled Administrator, Section 100-12 entitled Functions and Duties, subsection C entitled Personnel, subsection 7 of the Municipal Code of Village of Salem Lakes to clarify the duties of the village administrator. Ramsey, can you speak to this one?
This one is simply making the modification in the ordinance involving the administrator to make it clear that he will be supervising the clerk and treasurer.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve ordinance 2026.02-112.
I'll second.
Any questions? Okay. Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Yes.
Trustee Faber,
Yes.
trustee Polly,
Yes.
trustee Brooks.
Yes.
Trustee Barheit,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Motion carries. Number 11, Treasurer's Office, discussion and possible action on the following. 11.1, approval of vouchers in the amount of $9,516,613.30 for January 2026. I'm going to ask our treasurer to explain the large number, please.
Of course, in January and in February, we do pay out the tax roll settlements to all the taxing jurisdictions. So that is why you do see an increase in the January vouchers. And then you will see an additional increase in February's as we did do the settlement for February as well.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, the only questions I have were answered by Kristen when I called and talked to her on the phone. And she was very good at the explanation. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. 11.2 expenditure report through January 2026.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? Okay. Number 12, Public Works, discussion and possible action on the following items. 12.1, awarding the 2026 Street and Utilities Improvement Program base bid and alternates A, B, and C to asphalt contractors in the amount of $971,614.20.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments?
Yes. I'm kind of really concerned on what we want to spend to do that parking lot next door. $121,000?
That is with contingencies and engineering, Billy.
What?
That's with contingencies and engineering. We did core samples of the parking lot and found that there were areas with no base under it. So there's going to be more excavation and stone.
Pretty expensive for a rental property.
Yes, it is.
We just grind it, put it in, if it cracks, it cracks, you know, for
Billy, did you look at it? Did you look at it, Billy?
said 90 or 124,000?
I recommended selling the building.
What?
There's no base under it.
Grind it. Use it as a base.
You still have to excavate down then.
They're sticking way too much into a rental property.
But it's
Maybe
still
we should
village,
fix it
it's
in the
village,
first place.
it's still village
own it.
property, so we still have to take
I mean,
care of our
How many
property.
years old is it now?
All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
anyone opposed? Motion carries. Number 13, planning and zoning, discussion and possible action on the following items. 13.1, Berwick Properties, Inc., 4011 80th Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin, 53142, owner Daniel Schapp, 4011 80th Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin, 53142, agent requesting clarification of State Highway 50 access to parcel 704-120-054-0421 for a proposed development. This property is located in the southeast 1/4 of Section 5, Township 1 North, Range 20 East, Village of Salem Lakes. For informational purposes only, this parcel is located on the north side of State Highway 50, approximately 2,000 feet east of this intersection with County Highway B. I'm going to invite Bear, Berwick, Dan up. Thank you.
Hi, Dan Shop with Bear Real Estate Group, 4011 80th Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin. I asked the village to be placed on the agenda just for a quick discussion and clarification on our Salem Hills project. On January 6th, we were approved by this board for rezoning in PUD for a project on our 40 acres adjacent to Salem Hills subdivision. After the vote, there was a comment or a request to explore State Highway 50 access, because our concept plan that we showed the Plan Commission and to this board did not show State Highway 50 access for a variety of reasons. So our next step is to engage into design engineering and platting, which is a very significant investment. So I want to make sure to be clear with the board
how we're proceeding and if I'm going in the right direction. So we are not proposing State Highway 50 access.
Okay, did you look into that and what are the,
We have looked into it. I have not engaged the DOT. I'm not going to go into a traffic impact analysis for 10 home sites. It's just the improvements that would be required on State Highway 50 for a development like this would make the project would not pencil. So,
But
I
we
mean-
also talked that if you had to add additional homes along the eastern edge north of 50, then so be it. I mean, some of those lots would be smaller than what you're proposing. All right, currently, but you could still get the additional homes you would need to make it financially feasible.
to yield the number of home sites needed for the State Highway 50 access, the road would connect to 284th. It would be, as it was approved as a sketch plan back in the day, a connection between Highway 50 and 284th. And I thought that was directly opposite of what the neighborhood wanted. I thought the neighborhood wanted less traffic.
how many
So-
homes would you have to make it feasible?
I mean, in excess of 25.
Well, wait a minute, though. You originally plotted 20 in 2007. So
Correct.
now you're going 25, and that plot back in 2007 included access off of Highway 50.
Correct.
So why are you going up now?
Well, I mean, just first of all, there's been an extreme increase in cost of construction. We also have that wetland. If you look at the median cut on State Highway 50, the
Yeah.
cut is directly into a wetland. So we'd have to hairpin turn a road and then do another hairpin turn to get over to 284th. So, I mean, I don't even, to do like the very basic math, I don't know how many homes we would need. We'd need significantly more homes to make this pencil. And I just don't think that, personally, I don't think another intersection on State Highway 50 to serve this amount of development is safe. I mean, when you look at that, if you think about a 55-mile-per-hour speed zone coming into a subdivision that has a hairpin turn, if there's any cars stacked in there trying to access 50, that car that's headed westbound into the subdivision. I mean, I do have some exhibits, but
Put them up because, I mean, what's wrong with turning lanes?
we absolutely couldn't afford to do an improved intersection on State Highway 50 for 20 homes.
I'm not asking for an intersection. I don't think the board is asking for an intersection. We're simply asking for a turning lane for the westbound traffic. Now, your eastbound traffic, you would have another turning lane, but it would be in the medium area until traffic could turn left into that subdivision. And
So-
if I go back to your original plot in 2007, you accounted for that wetland with this hairpin turn. So why all of a sudden now is it an issue when in fact back then it wasn't?
So the past entitlements were not done by Bear, just so you know. This was done by the Heilgeist family. We purchased this property at the sketch plan. So there's never been any resolution from DOT on the validity of this intersection.
So,
So I could go and explore, I could meet with DOT, I could do a traffic impact analysis. If all that comes through, the only way this thing would pencil is to have a connecting road to 284 that every person every traveling public could use that road and end up in Salem Hills subdivision.
Why is that the requirement to have that connected to 85?
I do have, if you flip through the slides, it's going to be a concept plan.
Yep.
Next. Okay, so I took the linear feeder road of this cul-de-sac, right, that we're showing on our concept plan.
Okay.
And then I took this same exact linear feet of roadway and put it at the State Highway 50 intersection, you can see I only get a quarter way through the property. And I'm dodging 2 wetlands and woods to maybe get 3 or 4 lots.
Can I ask, the hairpin turn is created by an entrance that couldn't be further west,
East,
couldn't be further
east, east.
We have
no,
to,
west. Couldn't be further west. Wouldn't further west be straight up and down to the cul-de-sac in this page?
That's east.
for,
It's east?
You're looking
Okay.
to the north side of 50.
Oh, sorry.
there, at that point, when you go east, first of all, there's the median cut exists.
Right. They won't.
And then when you go east, you run into guardrail. So, I mean,
If you run in the guardrail, that's not a do not remove with planning, right?
well, guardrails protecting a grade change.
Right, but there's potential that you could straighten that out.
I suppose there is.
We're not trying to stop it. We're trying to appease everyone, including yourself. And just for clarification, when that concept plan was first presented here back last year, not January, but before that, we then asked to look into access off of 50. As a matter of fact, if you remember correctly, that's when Jonas and I kind of had some words, okay, which we worked through and resolved. But I'm just telling you that this happened way back when, asking for this to be looked into.
Sure. And that's what I guess what I'm here tonight to do is like, we've looked at it. I've analyzed it from our perspective, and I feel like there's a lot of different reasons why not to advance an intersection at Highway 50. So, you know, we thought we did our homework. If the direction is go and start meeting with DOT, if that's the direction. But I can tell you, if we do that and there's another access permitted on State Highway 50, that road has to connect.
Why?
Because I can only get, there's
You
only,
can't get to all the home sites.
why would I build a road that can only serve like 4 lots? It doesn't pencil either way. So we could go down that path. But unfortunately for the folks that we heard from Salem Hills who were concerned about traffic, it's going to be anyone who travels a public roadway now will be able to go from State Highway 50 through 284th out to B and vice versa.
So when I look at this, I know you say that it has to connect, but where it would connect, there on the upper west side, right? Why couldn't that be a cul-de-sac and not connect? Right where it stops, so
I'm sure if you look at the exhibit that's up on the screen, that's as far as we can go.
Because why? I'm not.
There's a maximum length of cul-de-sac.
I guess I think what maybe Pete's asked, why can't the road go further?
Because the ordinance has a maximum length for a cul-de-sac.
Oh, the road can only be.
So that's the
far.
whole purpose of this slide, is showing you that I cannot
Oh.
access 3/4 of the property with the road.
So you can't extend the road longer
Can't
because of
extend
that. Okay. And then I understand what you're saying as far as monetarily, it doesn't pan out, right? Because I'm sure that improvements to Highway 50 would be very costly. And if you moved it more towards the east, not only would you have to figure out what to do with the guardrail and the grade, but there is no median there. And if the DOT, and I guess this is what I wanted, was just some answers from the DOT, like, if you were going to do it, what would it take without doing a traffic study or anything like that? But
Yeah, that
So,
would be a short.
to me, if I lived there and they said, sure, you could put the entrance to the east more, but we're not going to let you have another median access. That means I can only get home coming from the east. That is annoying. If I'm coming home from Lake Geneva and I have to go all the way down by the vet to turn around to come back and go home, you know, so I guess that's what I was kind of wanting is if you were to explore that option, what would they say, if at all? Because they may or may not grant you access. what would they say
did-
would have to have
Yeah.
happen, right?
I can see them, I mean, we've done a lot of things on state highways. I mean, we'd have to petition the state to close that median.
Right,
We'd have to petition the state to open that median.
right,
And then we would have to prove up the traffic engineering saying that
yeah,
in the meantime, since, you know, there's also been several other new cuts on Highway 50, very close to this, the storage
right.
center, Dollar General, this all affects,
Cause they only allow so many.
they only allow so many and the spacing is getting so tight along 50 that it's, I mean, I don't want to run a fool's errand, right?
No, I understand.
Going with the
that.
DOT is like going to the dentist, but worse. And I mean, we could go through that if it's the village board's direction for me to explore that, so you have answers to it. I just know feasibly it doesn't work.
So question for Brad. Is this where potentially that distance of a cul-de-sac maximum distance that with a PUD overlay that we could make an exception? Not saying that we would, but I'm curious if that could be a use of it.
I would not recommend it. You gotta get emergency vehicles in there. It's that we have the ordinance for a reason. And that is safety. And if you're gonna go off of 50 and connect to that road in Salem Hills, would it remain a private road, Dan?
No, it'd be public,
So we would maintain it.
correct?
And in order to go through the process of getting turn lanes and everything, you would need a much larger development in order to be able to cover the cost of all of that.
Correct. I mean, I think that was communicated through our meetings is that, you know, whenever you're dealing with a permitted access on a state highway system, your development needs to be of a certain magnitude to afford the improvements, right? And what we're trying to do here is to do something less dense, right? We're talking about 10 homes accessing 284th. But yeah, I mean, short story is if we're messing with the state highway, this development needs to be completely different.
I'm concerned about the damage to the road from all the construction equipment, cement trucks and all that stuff.
That
To
was,
that
that was brought up
subdivision.
last time too. For a haul road or something off of 50 somewhere, instead of coming through on 284s.
I mean, it's gonna take a long time to. We could look at it. I mean, I've never been asked to not use a public road. This type of development happens a lot where you're building, you know. If the ask is, can we do something on a temporary basis to get a heavy equipment?
I'm concerned with cement trucks and I'll deliver the big delivery trucks, gravel trucks, cement trucks, all the heavy stuff.
You know, another way to handle that could very well be, and this might not work for you, but only during periods of non-freeze thaw. Could you be allowed to do that? That might be another way to look at protecting our roads. I don't know if that's a solution or not, but that's generally when roads are rated for weight, it has to do with that.
I mean, we would certainly abide by that. We could live with that. I mean, this road handles snow plows, it handles garbage trucks, it handles school buses. I mean, to grade in a small private road like this is not, I mean, it's not going to be a convoy of heavy equipment. It really isn't.
Could you look into like this? We've had people speak at public comment. We have concerned citizens. Could you look into the Hall Road and get back to us?
Sure.
Off of 50 to get
Sure.
an official answer?
Yeah, I guess there's two things. You know, we're excited to move forward. And I'm not comfortable moving forward with the State Highway 50 access lingering. And then the idea of building a haul road off of State Highway 50 just to accommodate the building of 10 homes gets pretty,
Is that something you would have to get approval from
I
the
mean,
state for as well?
no, I don't think so, because I mean, we're proposing that lot 11 would have, there is an access for a single point of ingress, egress onto onto the property.
That was your drive for the bottom house anyhow, was it not?
Yeah,
They're gonna have to.
that's
do
where
that.
the farmer gets in.
Right, but I mean, you have one house come down on the bottom.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, to build a haul road, right? I mean, it's a big piece of property. That's a long,
I know.
you know, digging out and then putting riprap all the way down.
It beats us replacing that road after you get done.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I would argue that, you know, I don't think a small scale development like this is really going to, I mean,
80,000 pound.
I mean, how about we videotape the road before we start, put a bond up? I mean,
We do that anyway.
to
if you
deny
go-
access to a public
right?
road to get to our property.
Yeah,
that's-
we have already road bonds and all that.
I mean,
So I guess I understand the Highway 50 thing. I do. I understand that you would need many more homes to be able to afford the improvements that you would have to do to this. And I understand that it does not economically make sense.
in our discussions, there, you know, the concern that I understood from the residents of Salem Hills was increase in traffic, right?
Right.
The alternative of going in through 50 with a connection just increases that. It means not only can the residents of our development go, but if I wanted to head to Burlington off of 50 and miss the light in B, I could go through here now and go through the subdivision and head north. I mean, it's a public road. I think the idea of having an access on 50 that doesn't terminate in a cul-de-sac is going to create a ton more traffic in Salem Hills than our 10 homes will ever.
I learned something new today. I don't know, we had that rule on cul-de-sacs. Okay.
I mean, when you look at the two options,
Dan,
People are-
when do you expect to get the dimensions on this private bridge that you're proposing?
Well, I need to get through tonight and the access issue before I can green light engineering.
Okay, because that's, yeah, okay. We got to make sure the fire department has rolled into that one piece.
Yeah.
Specifically. And just for clarification, when you talk, the one slide you have here with the state 50 access. Brian, can you put that one up? Yep. So below down there is what your thought would be if you were to move forward with the Highway 50 access. And yet you talked about it would have to connect, but this drawing illustrates two cul-de-sacs. Where does it connect to go all the way out to 280 foot or two?
So I did not show, so the purpose of this exhibit was just to show a similar length cul-de-sac. If the village board said you absolutely must access State Highway 50 and you absolutely cannot connect to 284th, this is what's showing how far we can get into our property.
So right now, you have that lot on Highway 50. That will have access,
Correct.
right? And that's gonna serve one home or more than?
One. Because we are legally entitled to one access point
For one home.
for one home.
Is there any way you can take that cul-de-sac and make it more than one home? Like if you took those other lots
Oh,
up and
I
pointed them
didn't-
towards?
I didn't show a division, but what I'm showing is that 1, 2, 3, you could get 4 lots off of what I'm showing.
Off of the Highway 50
Yeah.
driveway. So that's 4. So that leaves 7 homes to come off of the other road.
Oh, I would never build 2 cul-de-sacs.
That's what I
No,
was gonna-
no, this is an either or kind of thing.
So it's one driveway, one house. plus-
Yeah, if we did that, we would connect it. The development will look totally different. This would be public roads. up to village standard and, you know, the village would own another mile of road for a handful of lots.
And that's right, and this is gonna be a private, the HOA is gonna cover their road too, right?
Yep.
You were thinking gated, but maybe not gated, but private.
Private,
Yeah.
no snow plowing, no.
I mean, we'd like to enhance the entrance off of 284th with screening and, you know, make sure that like landscaping is a big part of this, right? Because we do understand that that road has never been there. It is going to be, it's going to be a change to some folks. I mean, we want to be good neighbors, but,
So as this continues to move forward, and should you get the green light months down the road here, I would ask that you touch base with the two homeowners on either side of that access road into that subdivision. So seek out some input from them as to what they would like to see that kind of hides their property from that road, if you will, in some.
The screening that you were mentioning?
yeah, no problem, for sure. I mean, we try to do that as a typical, you know, operations, but until we have an idea which way we're going.
Yep.
One of my exhibits does show landscaping and screening along.
But
so-
talk to them,
Sure,
to see what
absolutely.
would work with them as well.
So leaving here tonight, you know, because there is this next step in this, getting to the next step of entitlements is extremely, you know, there's a big investment in engineering and plating. So I just need to know if Highway 50 access is, you know, what the status, what the village pleasure is here. And then what kind of information are you guys looking for a haul road? What vehicles can access that and what can't? I mean, I want to make sure when we go to this next step that we don't have a surprise later on.
Well, no matter what it's gonna do, he's gonna have to put up a road bond anyway.
Mhm.
I mean, if they destroy the road, they're gonna have to fix the road.
Yeah, my suggestion would be we videotape the road with an engineer, right? Village engineer comes out, we videotape it, we document the condition of the road. We put up a road bond and we're able to use a public road to access our property.
Right.
And potentially also not during freeze thaw.
Correct.
Some
Yeah.
additional rules.
Just building a haul road from 50
Yeah,
is not.
but I know that was brought up before.
Yeah, and of course, we have to put up surety for, you know, typically there's a bond or something that we put up to cover the,
And I recall when Mr. Mills was here last time, they did move that road, that access road a little farther to the north or something to get it away from the property line. Not one of those two people that were talking about putting landscaping or something
Yeah.
there to block the.
so you have a 66-foot strip, which is typical of a right of way. So that was always meant to be a right of way. There's no question. One home is a little bit closer than the other home. We did some analysis of how, you know, this one's closer than the other one. So we took the center line of our roadway and shifted it away from the one that we were closer to. That, along with landscaping, is about the best we can do.
I'm satisfied with your explanation. I wish, you know, that, for the property owners, that it would have been a different outcome. I do feel for them, but I understand.
If we forced off of 50, then they get all the traffic that you can imagine.
Well, it's not just that, though. It's also feasible. It's not feasible monetarily.
Right.
So therefore, then they would have to increase the number of homes. So which is the lesser evil in
Yeah.
my head.
I agree. The original concept had all those homes and that would have been an awful lot of traffic going on through the neighborhood. And it calls for 11 parcels to be developed.
So it's only 10 coming off
that's
of
it.
that road. Anyone else? I think he's looking for more of a consensus or.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you.
There's no like action or anything, but we
No.
were, just so everyone knows, the next step is actually designing the site. So this is like the most critical question I'm asking is if 50 is required or not. And that's what it boils down to.
I wish we could make it a different outcome, but I understand the reasons why. Also understand, you know, we cannot tell you no to developing. I mean, it's we unfortunately can't. So not unfortunately, but you know what I mean? We
Yeah, I
can't
know.
just
It's okay.
so I guess I'm satisfied with your explanation. To move forward.
Anyone else?
And I feel the same way. The last time this presentation was made, there were 30, 40 people here that were not in favor of things. So the fact that we don't have a big turnout tonight.
Well, we got 3 though,
Yeah,
and they happen to be the impacted property owners.
the ones
I-
we asked them to work with.
I pledge to do absolutely whatever we can to satisfy the neighbors.
I mean, I would like to see if you can, you know, bring the bulk of the construction equipment and materials through this road off of Highway 50 just to help.
I
Whatever we can with that neighborhood, you know.
The term of construction really is really short, cut in the small road. I mean, we're talking weeks, right? We're talking weeks. This is a private road. There are no utilities going in. There's no pipe going in. So we're talking about talking about some grading, which we can bring in off of 50, right? We can haul our stuff in on low boys, cut it in. Unfortunately, the aggregate that goes under the road needs to go through 284th. That's a short window, right? The issue is like, I can't tell you how long it's going to take to build 10 homes, right? It's going to be sporadic. It's going to be, it might be 10 years. So like, when someone builds a home there, that generates more traffic than us building the road.
So I think for clarity, you're gonna build the road, subdivide, sell lots. You're not putting up any homes.
Like,
We may, I mean, our home building company may want to do something. I'm sure they're going to take a crack at it, but we see these homes as maybe something that we're not really, you know, it's not what we're set up to do. I think these are going to be $1 million homes.
Dan, after tonight, if you don't mind, you have my number. Would you give me a call, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
are you satisfied with?
I think so.
Okay. All right, great.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time. And I don't mean to we hate putting the village in a bad spot. It's just that I think this is a good project. We'd like to move forward. So, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, number 14, administrator discussion and possible action on the following items. 14.1, renewal of village insurance with R&R Insurance in the amount of $264,038.
What you have before you is the annual renewal of the village insurance. I'd like to add to this basic agenda item that there were concerns brought forward by trustee Barheit that we're going to look into it as far as the assessed value of some of the properties and equipment. We spoke pretty briefly before the meeting and you voiced your concerns and they were noted and we're going to look into that tomorrow and the following few days.
Okay. When does this renewal need to be signed? So we can approve the renewal. You'll look into it and it might be less depending on some of the, okay.
Was the cost of this insurance last year? Do you know what?
I'm going to defer to Sarah for that. Clerk.
This was the insurance we we switched to 2 years ago and we saved a
Right.
substantial amount of money. From what we were paying.
Correct.
Yeah, last year it looks like it was almost 12,000.
So last year, when we renewed, it went up 11%. This year, it's going up 4%. And with that is because we had a lot of injuries, employment injuries. So that made our mod and everything go up, which is why the rates went up. But we also lost the fire truck. So ensuring that dropped it quite a bit. Therefore, we only went up the 4% rather than what we would have went up
Mhm.
had we still have retained
Right.
it.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the renewal with R&R Insurance.
Second.
Any additional questions or comments?
Well, as long as he checks into them prices, because some of them is just crazy.
Yeah, you will.
Yep,
So,
I'm
yeah.
full confidence in.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? 14.2, request by Salem Business Park LLC for partial release of real estate mortgage by lender for tax parcel 704-122-710501 located in the southeast 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, section 27 T1 R20 East. Village of Salem Lakes. For informational purposes only, this parcel is located on the east side of 250th Avenue, approximately 700 feet north of the intersection with Joe Meyer Parkway.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
What does that mean? Do we start, does that make it any quicker that this, the TIF or TID, whatever we had there, goes down faster? So they start paying some taxes?
We have a representative from Cabo who's prepared to speak. If you'd like him to.
Yeah.
Good evening. You actually have two representatives from Covenant.
Okay, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Jason Peters. I'm the Vice President of Economic Development for Kenosha Area Business Alliance. And with me is Brock Portillia. He's our CFO for the business park, or for Cabo, I should say.
Cabo, okay.
Your question about will the TID close any earlier? As of right now, no. It's still scheduled to close in 2036. Well, it will, once the building's built, they're originally planning on doing 50,000 square feet, which would put about another 5 million of assessed value in that, or $5 million of increment in that TID. They're also hoping to expand to maybe another 50,000, which would add another 5 million. So just for an example, the Vonco building that you have there is about just over 100,000 square feet and it's assessed at just over 10 million. So you got a potential of adding another $10 million of increment to this.
So why do we partial release of real estate mortgage? We hold a mortgage or you guys hold a mortgage?
The town, now the village, has an underlying mortgage in there.
So in order for anyone to come in to build into the business park, this is what we have to do.
We don't get the money.
Standard practice that we've done
Standard practice.
every other, correct, with every other
Correct.
business in Salem Business Park.
Yeah,
Right.
there was, when the park was developed. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
and come to the,
Yeah, when the park was developed back in 2015, the town, now the village, placed a mortgage on there. My understanding was that was basically to ensure that Kava then didn't just turn around, stick a for sale sign and not work on the actual development. To answer your original question about does this lead to the TID, there are still some obligations to the TID that are in Eller's most recent pro forma are not paid for completely. Us, Kava. But I would say, like, yes, this does help secure the TID and open the door toward potentially closing that TID earlier. It's going to generate additional tax base, which helps pay down the debt sooner and pay down the other obligations. Like there's a water reserve fund, replacement funds, some other things. Once those obligations are met, then the village could explore closing the TID.
I recall it when Elders was here one time recently, they said that just the way that our development is now, that this TID could be paid for
Early,
maybe 5 years early.
right?
That is true. We came here probably a year or so ago and
Mm.
Ellers presented that.
Yep.
You will see like the mill rate is going down, which is changed that a little bit. The village's obligations are secured with the current status of the park. This is just generating additional tax increment that could expedite those
Right,
things.
right.
Yeah.
So we have to sign this, Billy, to,
Well, I just.
to
wanted an
release it, so
explanation
they
of
can
the
move
money.
forward, right, with,
Right. Well, I'm all for it to keep building it up. That's what it's there for. I just
Yeah.
wondered where the money was going.
right, understood. Okay, so we have a first and a second. Is there any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, 14.3 Road Consortium Update, Administrator and Village Attorney.
What you have before you is form of a memo is an overview of past 2 weeks since the approval to develop the insurance necessary to enter in the consortium. I've been working with staff on weekly meetings, working on the IGA. I would then bring the IGA criticisms, constructive criticisms to the municipalities we're attempting to work with. And I have to say, they've been very open to any changes that we've requested. We've made pretty good headway in the IGA, and I'm pleased with how fast we've been moving. I think it speaks to just the willingness of all the partners to work together. I would like to add, just in this memo, obviously was submitted last week, but I believe Twin Lakes did vote last night to move forward officially with it in the same manner we are. So yeah, really, we're on track still as far as I'm concerned, and what we're trying to do now is, and our big goal is to get that IGA before legal, so they can all kind of coordinate between different municipalities. That's the integral part of this whole consortium notion.
Okay. Ramsey, do you want to give your,
Sure. So upon the board's direction, I did take a look at the IGA in draft form for the first time and tried to get my hands around it. And I produced a legal document that I knew would cause some of your heads to spin, but it wasn't necessarily directed solely at you. The purpose was to sort of document what I'm seeing as the core legal issues as additional members come into it. I presume there's a willingness to allow me to share that letter with legal counsel for Paddock Lake and Twin Lakes, who I learned this morning are also interested. So the critical issues right now is, this is really just for the lawyers to chew over, although we do need more direction from the three interested members, is what shape does this legal entity take? You can call it whatever you like. It currently has the moniker of a consortium. I actually like that, but the moniker doesn't really control what the legal status of something is. Municipalities engage in IGAs all the time. If you, for instance, wanted to take advantage of the innovation grant, you could have a bilateral agreement, two municipalities, municipality A transferring to municipality B. You're done. You don't need to create a separate governmental entity. Your IGA, your contract cements that and would entitle you to get, assuming the state would approve it, it would be a transfer and entitle you to the innovation grant money. So then you can see as you make it, as you enhance whatever services you're trying to transfer and you get more members involved. The current draft says that the IGA is meant to be a quote unquote separate governmental entity. I'm not sure whether that is absolutely needed, because many IGAs don't go that far and they still have a board. They may still have insurance behind them or the like. And so I think that that's an issue that the lawyers can try to work through. It'll be a little bit dependent on what we're ultimately told from staff and the members as to what we're ultimately trying to achieve by way of services and the like. It'd be great ultimately if the three interested parties, Paddock Lake, Twin Lakes, Salem Lakes, if they can sort of tee up sort of a memorandum of understanding or a term sheet or the like, that really puts more meat on the bones for us lawyers then to actually build this thing. The last point I'd make is sort of your timing. Certainly, we can continue to work hard and try to build this. It might be difficult to meet the end of March. I mean, we'll see. It'll depend on how or what shape this entity takes. Let me give you an example. If we're going to keep it as a separate governmental entity, then we have to ask, does it need to be created as a chapter 181 corporate entity? Chapter 181 is what controls all corporate entities in the state, LLCs, corporations, whatever you have. And then that paperwork has to be run through the State Department of Financial Institutions. We would certainly need articles of incorporation. You would need bylaws and the like. Maybe that stuff is easy to draw up. And maybe all we need to do is show, and I know the goal here is to get access to the economic innovation grant. Maybe all we need at that point is to show the state that we have a signed IGA. Signed IGA that says the parties are, creating this thing, are taking these steps, and maybe that's sufficient. So we'll continue to work on this. This morning, I sent an email out when I learned that these other two villages are interested. Shortly before noon, I emailed the 3 administrators with their legal counsel, and I will hold a conference call with the legal counsel, hopefully by Friday or Monday, something like that, and try to get all of our heads around this thing. So one question I have for you, with your permission, I'd actually like to share with them my legal analysis so that the attorneys on for these potential members can all be unanimous what shape this thing should take.
Yeah, I don't have a problem sharing that. And I think that's something that the 3 attorneys and administrators could work through. In my opinion, the more simple we can make it, to get access to that grant, right? So
Correct.
if we don't technically have to create this entity, I'm on board for that. If there's no value to going to that extent, and we still realize the benefits of the grant and what we're trying to achieve, then I say that's the route we go. But that will be for all the attorneys and administrators, to be on the same page with.
And I would say that I agree as well. The other thing is, if the grant isn't issued, so I like the idea of, I'm pretty sure, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong here, but my understanding is if the grant isn't issued, then we just kind of fall back to no grant money, and now there's no more deadline. So to create something in advance to try and then maybe not get the grant money, maybe we're going forward with something that we may not go forward with if we're not given the money by the state. So I think the IGA is enough to submit that we're moving forward in the direction of creation of a group for transfer.
Oh, Mike, you have to come up to the mic, and we're only going to allow this just because of the topic and that you've done so much work.
Remzi's right. There is a chance that it's possible that, because other communities like Bristol and Paddock Lake are doing this with the fire service that they just decided to merge together with. So they're going to get a fairly large grant for that. So the biggest problem we're going to have is finding one community that wants to take that responsibility. And I think that's the challenge. So I think really what the goal is what the consortium does is it creates an equal body that can make these decisions. And I think an intergovernmental agreement will probably suffice, but there is a list of things that the Department of Revenue, I had a long conversation with them today, what they're going to require, but they want a transfer. So that's the most important thing. There has to be a transfer of services. So
Would you say, Brian, that for the application portion to try and get the money from the state, based on your research, an IGA and stopping there should be sufficient? Or do you think we need to be
the IGA will not be sufficient in itself.
I mean, for the application only?
It'll require It requires a separate bank account, FIE number. Now, let's say that Salem decided that they were going to be the leader in this. They could do that too. They could set up a separate bank account and all that. It becomes kind of murky whether or not they can completely participate in the grant.
Right.
Today, I kind of got an indication because Ramsey mentioned this. They may be able to, but I think that becomes a challenge. I don't think any one community wants to take on this responsibility. So what'll happen is there'll be a contract, this contract of the IGA, and then we'll have an agreement of how that'll be the transfer and the services that we're going to transfer. Each community will tally up what their 2025 expenses were that they want to transfer those services. That will be either submitted by one entity, which will probably be Salem or Paddock Lake. They'll decide in that contract, will the money be distributed back to Salem, then to be distributed to the other communities, or will it be a percentage that the DOR will send out to the individual communities? It'll be with our agreement. So the 3 or 4 communities that are doing this, we're going to have to come to an agreement on how those funds are going to be dispensed, so that so it just, there is a lot of little things to tweak, but I talked to the DOR today and they thought it was very doable, but I'm not a lawyer. So we're gonna let the attorneys decide how we massage this together.
One thing that we haven't really said publicly that I recall is the amount of money that we could get the first year on this grant is $250,000. We could get that again the next year and the next year. So it's a substantial amount of money that we can recover, because we spent over $1 million in 2025.
Yeah, and I think it's more than just that. I think that once we get to that point, we'll sit down and look at other areas that we can gain revenue from, that we can participate in. I think it's the roads, but then there's some other areas that we.
So
can
it could be 1.5.
Yeah, you know, let's say if it's 1.5, you're gonna get 1.75 if you participate for 5 years. So it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's why Walworth is interested, because I think they spend, from my
Well, with the
understanding, a
effort,
lot.
the state's got the money and they've got the program.
And there's only 5, I think, participants, and they're not big dollar amounts, so. So we'll
Okay,
just
so,
continue the,
yeah, I mean, I think being mindful to be fiscally responsible, obviously, right? So we need to, I don't want to spend a lot of money to produce nothing. But if, you know, even if we don't get the innovation grant, but we end up realizing cost savings because of pooling our bidding together, you know, that as long as it's not going to cost a lot of money to
the
do
DOR
all
did
this
say
work.
this,
So,
he didn't think the 181 was necessary. I
Okay,
don't know what
that's
that
good.
means.
That's good.
So,
Yeah, so from Madam President's comments and those of Trustee Polly, yeah, I mean, one way to look at this is you're greasing the rails to cooperation, even if you don't get the grant. Another way to sort of keep expectations in check is maybe you do get this thing set up the way you want, but you're tapping the grant next year, not this year. Just, you know, given the timing of things, but yeah, we'll continue to work
okay,
and try to put something together. We certainly need, you know, the nature of this entity or this beast is only part of the riddle. We need a lot more information from the administrators and other stakeholders as what, you know, what meat you want to put on the bones. You know, it's
Right.
easy to say these services blank are being transferred. Okay, we need those blanks filled in.
right.
But we can work on all that in the meantime while we try to figure out what is the legal status in the next week or two.
Okay.
just real quick, so I believe Paddock Lake is scheduling a Teams meeting with the DOR next week. And I would recommend that at least one of the attorneys from one of the communities participates in that.
I
Because
think,
that'll give us a crystal clear.
I think Paddock Lake should send out invites to
Well,
the,
I think they are.
to all the attorneys and administrators that are interested.
You
I
gotta
think
find a
everybody
time
should,
everybody can be.
everybody should be on that meeting. Because that's the only way to really keep moving this forward. So everybody's hearing the same thing all at once and we don't run into roadblocks because somebody's out of the know, right? So,
Yeah, I did go up the food chain at the Department of Revenue already for you, and that's where I got the confirmation that this thing could go, you know, either separate governmental entity or not. And yes, when I talk to council, I know the attorney for Twin Lakes well, we work together well. Paddock Lakes Council, she's new, I don't know her. But I will raise that to the extent that we have, any one of us is having meetings with the DOR, that we should have the attorneys on there too, because we all need to
And the
arrive at the
administrator, I
same
think
answer.
everybody should be part of that
Right.
too. That's the only way really to be efficient, so. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, number 15, closed session, 15.1. Closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 sub 1 sub G for purposes of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or may be involved, specifically concerning discussions and action on notice of claim filed by Gruber Law on behalf of Deborah Ann Phillips pursuant to Wisconsin statute 893.80.
I'll second.
Okay, trustee Barheit,
Yes.
trustee Brooks,
Yes.
trustee Polly,
Yes.
trustee Faber.
Yes.
Trustee Hopkins.
Yes.
Trustee Gant.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. We are in closed session. Please turn off your mics. Okay, we had a motion by myself and a second by trustee Barheit with roll call vote unanimous to reconvene into open session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 sub 2 for possible additional discussion and or action concerning any matter discussed in closed session. I will make a motion to disallow the claim of Deborah Ann Phillips.
I'll second.
Yes.
Bucher in favor. Trustee Gant,
Yes.
trustee Hopkins.
Yes.
Trustee Faber.
Yes.
Trustee Polly.
Yes.
Trustee Brooks.
Yes.
Trustee Barheit, and I'm a yes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Hopkins and Polly, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.